His name is Moon Knight. He's the night of the moon. He's the Moon Knight. Coming not at noon, it's at night when the moon is upright. Cause he's the Moon Knight. Let's see, I got her. Made her laugh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. I'm here to paint some Moon Knight. And I think that's what we're all ready for. Because it's Wednesday and it's Moon Knight Day. Wednesday is the Moon Knight Day. So I have a primed Moon Knight. I did a zenithal prime. I threw a gray wash on him to kind of tie it all together. I don't know what colors we're going to paint. I got a palette full of paints out. I got some inks out. And we're just going to paint with jazz in our hearts and just see what happens with the arts. Oh, I did a rhyme. I wasn't even planning on that one. I wasn't even trying that one. So let's kick it to the mini cam and see what happens with our Moon Knight. Because it's the darkest of the nights. It's the Moon Knight. So I've already painted a Moon Knight. You can see here, oop, I got a little fuzz on him. It's a gaming miniature, so he's not perfect. But you can see I did like a dark black. He's got like a little blue tinge to his cape and his little moon on his chest. I like the black costume because it adds a lot of contrast against the white. It's just a different take on the costume. You can see many iterations of the costume. So I don't really know what we're going to do with this one. But I did a little destruction to the base. I beat up his little tactical rock. Got a little extra rubble around there. Just to make it different. So let's get our paints out. And what should we do? Should we do some magentas, some greens, some teals? What are we feeling here? I'm just going to get a couple of different colors out on the palette. I do love the blues against Moon Knight. Always looks super good. So let's just throw a little bit of that in there and just start playing. Of course, I'm going to take suggestions on how we should paint our Moon Knight. So if you got something you'd like to see, you should put that suggestion in the chat. I'm watching chat. I'm here with you. We should see where it goes. How would you like to see one Mr. Mark Moon Knight Spectre painted up? I was looking at a lot of some of the early Moon Knight stuff. I mean, not the earliest Moon Knight, but earliest Moon Knight's first appearance. Definitely, I was just telling Summer, Werewolf by Night 32. That's a heck of a comic book if you can get a hold of it, or if you have it, lucky you. Congratulations. I don't own that. I would. I would totally trade some painting for one, if you know what I'm saying. Let's just kind of put some of this blue nonsensically kind of wherever we want it. We're just kind of just nonsense putting some blue in there. Pink plaid. Scooter suggests pink plaid.
Plaid has been a very popular request the last few days.
Look, I watched the stream yesterday and definitely saw shit getting requests for plaid as well. I feel like there's I don't want to say a conspiracy. I would definitely use the word plot. There's a plot. You know, it's like a sauce, it thickens. Just a little hair in there. Sometimes you get hairs in your paints, whatever. Just get rid of it. What do we think, gang? No suggestions except for pink plaid. I don't know if I can do pink plaid in an hour. I got 1 hour to paint this. Then it goes to my shelf of shames. Ordered the expansion today. Awesome. Awesome. I mean, it's Moon Knight and Blade. How can you how can you waver on two very fun characters in the Marvel pantheon of characters? Got his little shorts on. All right, what color should we go with next? Let's grab a little more blue. And let's do a little touch of darker blue. A little bit more of this. So this is like turquoise ink. A little hold your blue, a little gray wash mixed together. Blood Moon Night. Oh, Skeleton Key Ed, how you doing? Oh man, I kind of like this idea. Should we just completely scratch where we're going and go Blood Moon Night?
I'm in agreement with this.
Here we go, kids. I'm going to use a little bit of my magenta ink. Red paint, magenta ink. We're doing it. All right, we're doing this. Red Moon Night. Just completely scratching everywhere we were going. I have 1 hour. Let's see what happens.
You farted.
We're going to go real heavy on the reds. We're going to go full Blood Moon. I get super excited when I'm working on something and I'm like, what are we doing here? And somebody just throws out an idea and you're just like, yep, we're starting over from scratch. Let's just get in there and go crazy. Like an artist formerly known as Moon Knight. Big old brush. Big sloppy painting. You might notice that arm is a little disjointed. I bumped it and didn't notice it until about 10 minutes before stream. And you know what? This is for myself. This is not for competition. This is not for anybody's joy but my own, so I don't care that the arm's a little disjointed. It's fine by me. He's a blood moon night in the pale moonlight. That doesn't make sense. Way back there in the back of that cape. We gotta go faster than I'm going. I'm painting slow. It's been a while since I painted. I've not been painting at home. I've been distracted by something else. It's a video game. Totally distracted by video games and not painting as much as I normally do. But that happens sometimes. Sometimes you just take a little break. So the reason I put that magenta in with that red paint is it kind of kicks up the saturation. It makes it more vibrant. And then the ink, because the nature of ink's a little more translucent, lets us do that sort of washy effect, playing with that zenithal prime to kind of create the volumes. Reminds me of the old Zorro movie where he wore all kinds of different colored outfits. I mean, Moon Knight, if anybody's going to wear a bunch of different colored outfits, it's probably definitely Moon Knight. Like, I feel like that guy had no idea what he's going to wear on any day. Super excited to get home tonight, make some dinner. I'm sure I'll cook something up for dinner. Hopefully something delicious. And watch the first episode of Moon Knight. Rule number 1, if my brush can't reach it, you can't see it. Just cramming paint back there. I'm actually kind of mad I didn't think about this. Like, I didn't think, I was like
Very clever and smart.
I mean, well, I know Skeleton Key Ed. And I will give him credit for being clever and smart. Now, I only hope he gives me credit for the same. Moon Knight's pretty much the color whatever light is hitting him. That's a fact, Jack. Because he's wearing a white costume. And why is just the light reflecting back? Whereas black is the absorption. So I might have to pull a Schick and use the hair dryer. I almost said the air dryer. Let's get a little sketchy. All right, I'm going to blow dry this. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Close your ears. 3, 2, 1. What? What?
Does it impact anything in the process?
It just speeds. All I'm doing is speeding up the painting. It doesn't really impact the paint too much. Nah. All right, we need a little blue mixed with some red. Remember, blue is a bully color, so you don't want a lot of blue. You just want a little touch of blue. Yes. I'm going to start sketching in. I want this to be very, I want to get a little, just kind of, what's the word I want to use? Expressionist-y, right? I just want like a lot of expression and in this. So I'm not going to be super picky about how the paint falls. I'm just going to do some little lines and soften some edges here and there. Focus on just kind of where darkness would fall. My heart. Just kind of work our way around the miniature. Are we getting any teasers prior to the mini extravaganza in June? I'm full of MCP, good cheer from Adepticon 1, geek out on something. Geek out on this. Geek out on hanging out, geek out on painting. Continue geeking out on Adepticon, and I was definitely keeping track of what was going on to some extent. Several of us were. Watching streams, chatting with people about the goings-ons of Adepticon. It looked like a lot of fun. Super excited to get back to that show sometime. I don't know when the next teases are coming. Let's really darken this. Just let the paint kind of fall and land where it may. The what's releasing soon, Summer? Do you have a what's releasing soon? Also, we can talk about the return of hashtag painting protocol. So on Instagram, you can hashtag painting protocol. For April is going to be Shield. Agents of Shield. So it can be anything that falls in that affiliation. Or, you know, sometimes we pick stuff that's adjacent, affiliation adjacent, whatever looks kind of cool to us. So you can geek out on some more Shield stuff. Maybe paint something again that you've already painted in the new color scheme. Post it up there. Maybe we'll pick it and we'll showcase it here on the show. I love seeing what everybody's working on. I'm just tearing up my brush. It just happens sometimes. Oh, yeah. Nick Fury and Shield Agent, Shadowland, Daredevil, and Electra out next Friday. Get ready for that. Affiliation doc with Shield will be out there tomorrow. Oh, yeah. I don't think I've seen that. I don't even know what's on that new update. I need to check for my own personal knowledge. Darken the underside of that cape. I like to use a little blue mixed in there. Really richens that red out. We're just going to keep working all over. This brush is rough. I need to get it some hair conditioner. Unfortunately, I don't own any. What's the best way to lighten orange to get darker yellow, white or yellow? What's the best way to lighten orange to get a darker yellow? Well, if you lighten orange, you're not going to get a darker yellow. You actually need browns to get a darker yellow. So like an ochre or umber is going to get you a darker yellow more than just lightning orange. If you lighten orange with white, it starts to turn, peachy, which I don't think is what you're looking for. So darker yellow, a couple ways to go darker yellow. I like teals to darken yellow. Teal looks super good inside the shadows of yellow. It's a little trickier from a philosophical perspective to kind of work with, but it looks super, super cool. And then browns is kind of more traditionally darker yellows. Cause he's a blood moon night, ready to fight. The darkest souls of the night. Darkest souls of the night. I'm talking about like, villains, because they're dark souls. Smash some paint back there. Clean off that top. Highlights. Let's highlight. Let's bring in some yellow. Should we go yellow or pink? Let's go yellow. A little warmer. Ah, man, I really like that pink. We're gonna stoplights on with darker yellow for them. I don't know what your Scottish. I don't know what your base yellow is. I don't know, so it's kind of a hard question. Definitely, I've used like flesh washes, which are browns. You can use, burnt umber, which is a wide range of colors that you can pick from. Man, I'm really torn here. Should I do yellow, orange, or pink highlights? I'm kind of feeling the pink highlights. We're sticking with the pink highlights. A little blue, a little red, a little white. A little more red. A little more red. Let's just start sketching some fun little define, refine. A little red, little more red. A little blue moon Elvis. I like blue moon Elvis, or blue moon Elvis, blue moon night. See, I get a song stuck in my head and I'm on Twitch and I can't sing it. Because I just want to be like, moon night. He fights the villains alone. Start just picking out little spots. Blending everything together, pulling it all. Yeah, inspiration for this was I had no inspiration. And somebody in chat said Blood Moon Night. Pink and orange, why not both? Dizard, I like the way you think. Yeah, once we're all feeling confident about having enough players in a streaming room together, we'll get back to those game streams. We're all eager to get back to them. They're not forgotten, Trust me, there ain't no think we ain't thunk. I'm just pulling those middle highlights all together. We're starting with our pink. We'll go into some whiter highlights shortly, and then we'll throw in some of those yellow highlights just for fun, because I gotta agree with Dizard. It's like sometimes it's just fun to like just be like, I'm doing nonsense and it's gonna work. And I believe it's gonna work. I mean, it's art. We'll force it to work, you know. Color theory and all that's just a tool, just a starting guide, but there's definitely ways you can break all those rules. You know, if you can figure out how to place light and shadows to create volume, and I'm not talking about like volume 11, I'm talking about volume of a shape, so give it form and such, then the colors kind of start to fade away and don't matter, because you're just creating, you're showing off the form. Kick it up. Let's go pinker. Need some gold. Where are we putting gold at? On his little belt buckle? Let's go wider. Let's go wider. Let's go wider. Just going to kind of sketch those in. Some little dots and jags. If you can keep the widest lines next to the darkest lines, you're going to get the most contrast. And that's what's going to draw the eye. And these can just be like little dots and scribbles, just adding texture. Kind of treating it like a watercolor painting almost, right? I'm not super worried about blends and all that. There's a time and a place, and you know, Blood Moon Night cares not for your perfect blend. If you look at like a lot of comic art, there's always like funky little lines here and there. So, you know, sometimes it's fun to paint like that. Sometimes I paint, you know, very strict and that, you know, perfect blend kind of philosophy, and sometimes I don't. Try to mix up my styles, play with a little bit of everything. A little white knuckle action there. Little swoops and boops on the cape. Spin it around. We're going to do front white, back orange, to kind of show that he's red. His costume is red, but depending on the light, how that red reflects. Like we were talking in chat, white kind of is whatever color the light is around you. So I think we can play with this philosophy here. How's that sound to everybody? Are we on board? Let's do like a little squiggly line. Look at that little. It's just some little texture. Maybe there's like an inscription to Kanju on here or something. It's so tiny you can't read it. I gotta step back for a moment, take a peek, and figure out what I'm missing. All right, where are we at? Bring. Yeah, it's always fun to experiment with thoughts when you're just painting. You're just kind of goofing and, try stuff out here and there. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Move along and pick the next miniature and take those lessons you learn and apply it to the next thing. It's just a super healthy way to look at stuff, right? What was I watching the other day? Some TV show was talking about how the best lessons are learned, when we're failing, not when we're succeeding. It's kind of something I always taught my kid, right? You can't learn by winning. There's so many lessons from the act of just trying, doing, failing, and then reapplying that knowledge later in a different manner. We're just going to sketch a bunch of orange back here. Sick Cape Moon Night. Yeah, I got to come back and try again. Take a lesson. You want to scoot it over? Oh, Summer's got to come in for a closer look.
There's something that the camera just can't quite pick up.
I'm painting real subtle, right? It's like a very subtle, that when it comes together in real life.
We're slowly seeing it come together, which is really fascinating, which was why I wanted to come get a closer look.
Yeah, sometimes it's not like, there's a lot of painters that call it like the ugly stages, which I personally don't like.
No.
It has a negative connotation to me. But there's a sort of philosophy, like there's these stages in miniature painting and just art in general, that's sort of the rough and readies, and it doesn't quite make sense. And I think a lot of painters kind of get stuck in those moments and can't see the end goal. And sometimes it's just a matter of, carry on, tally ho, sally forth, and get in there and just keep going. Or that's the point where you ask questions, right? Hey, I'm at this point, painter friends. I'm not sure what to do. Everything looks really weird. Please help. Let's take some black. Should be the blackest of blacks. So if you take like pure black paint, add a little brown ink and turquoise ink, you get like a real mega black. So I haven't decided what color the moons are going to be on his belt, but I know I need some dark lines to separate everything out. Once again, if my brush can't reach it, you can't see it. Let's do the inside of that hood. We're just kind of treating this like an extreme comic book shadow almost. And this is just going to help us break some sections apart. That turquoise is a little on the blue side, so that little bit of blue works against that red. Contrast, contrast, contrast. You know, we're working in miniature. We need to accentuate everything and be kind of exaggerated for the eye. We could even get funky with this. We could be like, fill that in. I'm just being a little more selective. We're just going to work our way around, dividing out some elements. He's got these like little cuts in his cape. So dark line around that hood. Don't like that? Erase it. Just like that. Once again, those little slashes in his cape. Let's make those eyes really white. There's a little touch of blue. I think the moon on his chest as well. Do we got thoughts, chat? It says white has just a touch of blue in there. Once again, with blue and red being very contrasty. That little tiny bit of blue helps bring it out. We can even add a little bit to the highlights because it's got that blue there. Just be super selective. Still don't have a color for his belt. Oops. Really want to fill those eye sockets with the white because then I can go back with a little. Let's keep that belt black. We're going to just accentuate. With some highlights. A little slash to show like reflections. What do we think? How are we digging it? The moon just stands out. I think we can even pop those highlights just a touch on the stick. And then we can take a little bit of our red, and if we botched around the eyes, there we go. I'm just getting kind of overpainted the eye, and that's okay. Define and refine. Okay, let's put a little blue glaze on that moon. Just so it's not so white. Obi Watts, previous streams talked about an errata fact about the grunts will work with certain leaderships like kingpins. Will those be on time for Friday? It's a good question. Is it? I don't know. I think let's put a little bit of just the most subtle blue ink, turquoise ink, in those eyes as well. Just water it down. Use a second brush to kind of control where it lands. Just kind of put some of that turquoise into those white areas. Somebody's microwaving popcorn in the office over. All right, what are we missing? What do you think? What do you think about Blood Moon Night? I think he's rad. Just some funky little comic booky highlights. Yeah, I have two alternative schemes now. I got a black and white version, and now I have the Blood Moon. I feel like maybe the staff should be white. We still got 10 minutes. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Everybody vote, should the stick be white? I'm voting yes. And we're waiting on everybody to place their votes, but I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, it should be white, cause then it's contrasting against everything else. Like the red cape and the red leg and the red hand and the red arm and the red face and the red, like, hoodie. I don't think anybody can outvote Dizard. Dizard sends me all the good ideas in chat. I'm gonna get a little white on that cape. That's okay, we'll go back and fix it. Everybody remember, painting miniatures is a fine art of correcting one's mistakes. Once again, if my brush can't reach it, you can't see it. It doesn't really matter. A little funny space behind the leg. It just doesn't matter enough. Looks like he's gonna whomp somebody with a fluorescent lamp, right? Like some backyard, like some backyard wrestling kind of stuff. I'm not saying I've ever personally experienced backyard wrestling, but that's what it looks like. Especially once we lay in a little bit of this blue against it. I feel this Moon Knight, like he's like, by the power of the crimson moon, I, Blood Moon Knight. Oh, no. I have to fix that cape later, but that's okay. Maybe we'll get to it today. I don't know. Yeah, that little spot right there on the hand needs, yeah. I know you can't see what I'm doing because of his gorgeous cape. Does that apply for tabletop studio competition painting, everything? Those what? Eagles? I don't always remember what I just said, so sometimes you have to remind me, kids. Hit me up with all those questions. Waiting for Eagles to respond. What kind of questions you got? Love to hear them. We only got a few more minutes. Your brush can't reach it, you can't see it. No, that absolutely does not apply to studio or competition. Tabletop, absolutely. I would say for even display, which a display is more like a sort of a different philosophy when you're painting. So tabletop is meant for just tabletop. And that the quality doesn't, there's no definition to the quality of tabletop. It's just the destiny of the miniature. You know, somebody might spend 5 hours painting something for tabletop, and somebody might spend 1 hour painting something for tabletop, and the 1 hour might be higher quality, quotes. But the destiny is the same. The idea is it's on the table and it's meant for play. Display is more like something painted, usually on a plinth, but it usually goes in a cabinet. It's not for showing off. And a lot of times for display, you kind of pick a single viewing angle. So you can kind of get away with, depending on what you're painting and the philosophies you're using, you can kind of get away with my brush can't reach it, you can't see it. For studio for us, we photograph everything in 360 turntables, so you're going to see every little bit. And it might be your new favorite character like Moon Knight. Oh my gosh, they just announced Moon Knight. And, you're getting ready for bed and you're kind of laying in bed and you're looking at the 360 over and over and over again. So everything has to be painted to the same level, top to bottom, because you're going to notice. And you're going to notice if something's not painted to a certain level or unpainted. And then competition, miniatures and competitions, I can only speak for the Worthy. This is the kind of thing where like I will flip your miniature upside down and I will look for mold lines. I'm looking for every single thing. I'm looking for execution, not just technique, because that technique matters, but also artistic expression and a solid foundational knowledge of miniature hobby in general, right? You can't build a house without a good foundation, and part of the foundation of a good miniature paint job is a solid miniature construction. So mold lines, gaps, stuff like that. So it all depends on the intent and the philosophy and the destiny of your miniature. Does that make sense? So then we're on back in with that white to do those little scribbles again. Because I like that. Yes, it does. Thank you for the info. That's what I'm here for, and I'm glad I was helpful. Like, we always talk about the destiny of the miniature. Before you paint, you should choose the destiny of the miniature. Is the destiny of this miniature for tabletop, playing games with my friends, or going to a convention, playing games? Then it doesn't need to be as perfect as something for, say, the Worthy painting competition. When you're doing something like the Worthy painting competition, you're gonna have somebody, you're gonna have me and other professional painters looking to reward those who are trying to push and achieve new areas and philosophies in miniature painting. We're going to be looking for solid construction and technique, and also just, artistry and imagination and storytelling and all these other aspects that are super important. Hopefully that makes sense. But for a tabletop, I'm all about, if you painted it and it's for the tabletop, it's the coolest miniature in the world. I kind of hold the idea like tabletop miniatures are always flawless, right? You paint it for a tabletop and you put it on the game. I can't give you any feedback because it's flawless. It's doing its job. Now, if you're like, hey, I painted for tabletop and I want to know how to take it to the next level, that's a conversation I'm willing to have. But it's going to start with, don't paint it for the tabletop if you want to know where to go. try to paint something not for tabletop first. Show me something other than something destined for the tabletop and see what you can achieve, because you're going to fail, right? What did we learn earlier? Can't learn by winning. So let's see a good fail and then talk about how to take it to the next level, because you're just going to get more out of it. And you're going to be starting on a more philosophically appropriate place for the discussion, if that makes sense. All right, it looks like it's 2:01, and it looks like I have painted a blood moon night in an hour. Did you believe I could do it? Summer believed. All I got left is the base. I'm pretty happy. Not bad for starting 10 minutes late and not having a plan, eh? That's what we do here. It's about how to paint. He does look cool. It's all about how to paint, not what to paint. If I was just like, paint blue number 32 and then shade with, blue number 14 and then highlight with blue 9, that's what to paint. But if I'm like, you can use any blue and you can throw a little purple in that shadow or a little green, I'm teaching you how to paint. Let's learn how to paint together. Anyways, we can do our outro. What? Oh, light. Sorry. So remember, every Tuesday and Wednesday currently, and eventually Thursdays, we'll be back to Thursdays. I promise. We've been talking about it. We'll get back to Thursdays. So it's in the talks. We've been talking about it. So every Tuesday and Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Twitch, you can check us out for Atomic Mass Transmissions. We paint some stuff and hang out, answer questions, and talk about all kinds of random nonsense. And then for all the latest news, information, announcements, you should check us out on Instagram and or all the other social media outlets. And then also on Instagram, hashtag painting protocol. In April is Shield. Any Shield affiliated character, or even something that you just be like, this is my MODOK. He's painted like Shield because that's how I'm going to run him. You should do that up. Please, somebody make MODOK Shield. That'd be awesome. Hashtag painting protocol for April is Shield agents. We'll be looking at those and featuring them here on our show. So until next time, go out and be the hero you want to be. And now I sing my song as I stare over there until I get the we're free and I can stop and put away my paint. But she won't click the button.